Dear students, so in a previous lecture we have seen what is basic service set. Today we will see what is extended service set. An extended service set ESS, it is made up of two or more BSS with APs. In this case, the BSS are connected through a distribution system which is a wired or a wireless network. The distribution system connects the APs in the BSS. IEEE, it not 2.11, whatever it is, it does not restrict the distribution system. It can be any IEEE LAN such as an Ethernet. Then whatever is this extended service set, it uses two types of station. One is called as mobile and another is stationary. The mobile stations are normal stations inside a BSS. The stationary stations are AP stations that are part of a wired LAN. So this figure is going to represent what is extended service set ESS. Then when the BSS are connected, the stations within reach of one another can communicate without the use of an AP. However, communication between a station in a BSS and the outside BSS occur via the AP. So this idea is similar to communication in a cellular network. Now if we consider each BSS to be a cell and each AP to be a base station, then a mobile station can belong to more than one BSS at the same time. So next we'll see about the station types. Station types. IEEE 802.11 defines three types of stations based on their mobility in a wireless LAN. Node transition is one station, BSS transition is one station, and ESS transition mobility. A station with no transition mobility is either stationary, means not moving, or moving only inside a BSS. A station with BSS transition mobility can move from one BSS to another, but the movement is confined inside one ESS. A station with ESS transition mobility can move from one ESS to another. But the IEEE 801 does not guarantee that communication is continuous during the move. So next we'll see what is MAC sublayer. The MAC sublayer IEEE 802.11 defines two MAC sublayers. One is distributed coordination function and another is point coordination function. So this is a figure that is going to show the relationship between two MAC sublayers, LLC sublayer and physical layer. Now we will see what is this distributed coordination function DCF. Protocol defined by IEEE at the MAC sublayer is DSCF. This DCF uses CSMA-CA as an access method. Now we'll see frame exchange timeline. What is this frame exchange timeline? So before sending a frame, the source station senses the medium by checking the energy level at the carrier frequency. There are two parts in this. The first one is the channel uses a persistent strategy with back off until the channel is idle. The second point is after the station is found to be idle, the station waits for a period of time called the distributed interframe space DIFS. Then the station sends a control frame called the request to send, in short, RTS. Then second, after receiving the RTS and waiting a period of time called the short interframe space SIFS, the destination station sends a control frame called the clear to send CTS to the source station. This control frame indicates that destination station is ready to receive data. The third point is the source station sends data after waiting an amount of time equal to SIFS. The fourth point is the destination station after waiting an amount of time equal to SIFS sends an acknowledgement to show that the frame has been received. Acknowledgement is needed in this protocol because the station does not have any means to check for the successful arrival of its data at the destination. On the other hand, the lack of collision in CSMA CD is a kind of indication to the source that data have arrived. Next, we have to study what is network allocation vector and why it is needed. Then we'll see here collision during handshaking, hidden station problem, and point coordination function repetition interval. The figure is going to show the idea of NAV, network allocation vector, with CSMA, CA and C. Now, here we will discuss that if one station acquires excess, then what about other stations they will do? In other words, how is the collision avoidance aspect of this protocol accomplished if one station acquires excess? The key is NAV feature. What is this is, when a station sends an RTS frame, it includes the duration of time that it needs to occupy the channel. Then the stations that are affected by this transmission create a timer called NAV. This shows how much time must pass before these stations are allowed to check the channel for idealness. Then each time a station accesses the system and sends an RTS frame, other stations start their NAV. That is, each station before sensing the physical medium to see if it is idle, first checks its NAV to see if it has expired. That is, here we have seen how do other stations differ sending their data if one station acquires excess. Then now we'll see what is this collision during handshaking. It means that what happens if there is a collision during the time when RTS or CTS control frames are in transition, often called handshaking period. That is, two or more stations may try to send RTS frames at the same time. The control frames may collide. As there is no mechanism for collision detection, sender assumes there has been a collision if it has not received a CTS frame from the receiver. Then backup strategy is employed and sender tries again. So in the previous lectures we have seen about hidden station problem. Now we'll see what is the solution to hidden station problem. Then it is use of handshake frames, RTS and CTS. So in the previous figure we have seen that RTS message reaches A from B but not C. However, because both B and C are within the range of A, CTS message, which contains the duration of data transmission from B to A, reaches C. Station C knows that some hidden station is using the channel and retrains from transmitting until the duration is over. Next, this is all what is about distributed coordination function DCF. Now we will see point coordination function PCF. Is an optional access method that can be implemented in an infrastructure network, implemented on top of the DCF and is used mostly for time sensitive transmission. PCF has a centralized contention free polling access method. The AP access point performs polling for stations that are capable of being polled. Stations are polled one after another, sending any data they have to the AP. Then if there is a need to give priority to PCF over DCF, another interference space PIFS has been defined. PIFS is shorter than DIFS. Then if at the same time a station wants to use only DCF and an AP wants to use PCF, then AP has priority. As PCF has priority over DCF, stations that only use DCF may not gain access to the medium. So to prevent this, a repetition interval has been defined to cover both contention free PCF and contention based DCF traffic. Then here we are going to study what is repetition interval. Is repeated continuously, which starts with a special control frame called a beacon frame. this figure is going to show the concept of beacon frame. When the station hear the beacon frame, they start their NAV, you can see here B, they start their NAV for the duration of contention free period of the repetition interval. During the repetition interval, PC is here, can send a pole frame, receive data, send an acknowledgement, receive an acknowledgement, or do any combination of these. At the end of contention free period, PC sends a CF end frame to allow contention based stations to use the medium. So this is the repetition interval, this is contention free contention, this is the beacon frame. Now we'll see what is fragmentation. Why there is a need of fragmentation? Fragmentation means making the frames into a smaller frame into more number of frames. Why it is needed, we'll see. Wireless environment is very noisy, so frames are often corrupted. Then when a frame is corrupted, that corrupted frame has to be retransmitted. Then a protocol that recommends fragmentation, which is division of a large frame into smaller frame, is fragmentation, which is more efficient to send a small frame into a large one. Then a large one. So this is defining the frame format. You can see the frame format fields are FC, D, address 1, address 2, address 3, SC, address 4, frame body, FCF. FC subfields are protocol version, type, subtype, to DS, from DS, more fragment, retype, power management, more data, WP, result. Frame control, FC, is 2 bytes long and defines the type of frame and some control information. These are the subfields in FC. Version, current version is 0, type of information, management 00, control 01, data 10, subtype of each type, to DS defined later, from DS defined later, more fragment when it is set to 1 means more fragments, retry when set to 1 means retransmitted frame, power management when set to 1 means station is in power management mode, more data when set to 1 means station has more data to send, WP wired equivalent privacy, RSVD stands for result. Here whatever we are seeing, that was about FC field, frame control. Next we'll see about D. This is the field that defines the duration of the transmission that is used to set the value of NAV. Then next field is addresses. Now we'll see this address field. There are 4 addresses field, each 6 byte long. You can see address 1, address 2, address 3, address 4, each is of 6 bytes long. The meaning of each address field depends on the value of the 2DS and from DS fields and will be discussed later. Then the next field what we are going to study is SC, which is sequence control. This field, often called SC field, defines a 16-bit value. The first 4 bits define the fragment number. The last 12 bits define the sequence number, which is the same in all fragments. The next is frame body, which is from 0 to 2312 bytes. This field, which can be between 0 and 2312 bytes, contains information based on the type and subtype field in the FC field. The FCS, which is 4 byte long, is 4 bytes long and contains a CRC, error detection sequence. Next, we'll see about frame types. A wireless LAN defined by IEEE 802.11 has 3 categories of frame. One is called management frames, second control frame, third data frame. Then for what are these management frames used? Are used for initial communication between station and access point. Control frames are used for accessing the channel and acknowledging frame. Data frames are used for carrying data and control information. So these are the values of subfield types in control frames. 1011 request to send, 1100 clear to send, 110 acknowledgement. Stop.